Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli visited the El Arish, Northern Sinai on Tuesday, during which he met with head of the Northern Sinai Tribes Union, Sinai elders and chiefs, as well as a number of media personnel, politicians and public figures. Premier Madbouli vowed that Egypt would not recede any part of Sinai and would launch the second phase of the development of Northern Sinai, where a strong infrastructure has been laid down.
Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli visited Northern Sinai on Tuesday, during which he met with the head of the North Sinai Tribes Union, chiefs and elders of the Sinai tribes, as well as a number of media personnel, politicians and public figures. The Prime Minister also laid the foundation stone for the number of urban societies. During his visit to Al Arish, at the headquarters of the Battalion 101, Madbouli affirmed that the state would launch the second phase of the Northern Sinai development, in which a strong infrastructure had been laid down there. He said such a strategic decision had been taken to develop Sinai in parallel with combating terrorism. The Prime Minister said Sinai had been a bastion for resistance against aggression attempts against Egypt throughout history. He stressed that liquidating any issue on the expense of Egyptian lands would not be allowed. He said 1,000 projects had been implemented on the peninsula with a cost of over 290 billion Egyptian pounds, adding that 363 billion pound scheme over 5 years is being implemented. Madbouli said the projects cover many fields, including health and higher education, adding that Northern Sinai residents will be able to find many job opportunities during the next period. The Prime Minister described the volume of projects planned for Northern Sinai as 3 times that of the High Dam project. Madbouli said 270,000 fidans are planned for reclamation in Northern Sinai, while 115 billion pounds are allocated to establish 21 housing projects in the area. He noted that an industrial zone is planned for Sinai, including projects worth billions of pounds. According to Madbouli, Northern Sinai is to be the site of international standard tourist projects and would be an investment destination for investors from around the world. He said a road network of the highest standards will be implemented in Sinai. Added that linking Northern Sinai with Egyptian lands everywhere is underway with the aim of aborting any foreign ambitions. Madbouli said Egypt would be an international logistics center with a giant railway network. He also said that Arish Port would be developed into an international port with the capacity to compete with other Egyptian ports. The Premier further added that plans are forwarded to establish logistics and free zones in Northern Sinai to serve trade movements with neighboring countries and for the area to be a giant investment, industrial and housing center in Egypt. In a press conference in Rafah, Prime Minister Madbouli said Egypt is against any targeting of civilians and added that Egypt is against collective punishment against civilians in Gaza. He reiterated that Egypt is keen to deliver all humanitarian aid to Gaza and the region will not achieve peace without the two-state solution. Madbouli stressed that Egypt would not accept the liquidation of the Palestinian cause at its expense or at that of any other country. He asserted Egypt's total rejection of collective punishment of the Palestinian people, including the residents of the Gaza Strip, asserting that Egypt is in contact at all levels to face the unprecedented humanitarian crisis in Gaza. He confirmed that Egypt would not recede any part of the Sinai Peninsula and is keen on developing it for the sake of the nation. Madbouli said Sinai had witnessed unprecedented development and investment. The Prime Minister vowed that Egypt would not allow a destabilization of any part of the nation. For their part, the chiefs and elders of Sinai expressed full support for President al-Sisi. The governors of Northern Sinai said the government is keen on developing the peninsula. At a press statement held at the Egyptian side of the Rafah border crossing with Gaza, the Prime Minister called upon all world leaders to denounce targeting civilians, deploring the loss of over 8,500 lives in Gaza due to the Israeli strikes. Madbouli thanked international government and non-government organizations that have sent humanitarian aid to Palestinians in the Strip to enter through the Rafah crossing.
Head of the State Information Service, Diyar Rashwan, held a press conference at the Rafah border crossing in Egypt. Rashwan said actions in Gaza had exceeded the concept of self-defense on the part of the Israelis. He noted that the Palestinian people do not accept to be displaced outside their homeland, adding that the right to resistance is stipulated in international law. According to Rashwan, 258 trucks have so far passed to Gaza through the Rafah border crossing from Egypt. The Egyptian Armed Forces carried out a number of training activities in the 3rd Field Army and the northern region in the framework of implementing the combat training plan for military units of the armed forces. One of the units of the 3rd Field Army carried out the main phase of a 2-level external command center project lasting several days. In related context, one of the units of the northern military region also carried out a practical demonstration for the most appropriate method of implementing technical insurance procedures for equipments and vehicles. The project and the practical demonstration were attended by a number of commanders of the armed forces and a number of students from the military colleges and institutes. Foreign Minister Sameh Shukri discussed over a phone call with the High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy of the European Union, Josep Borrell, the ongoing escalation in the Gaza Strip. A Foreign Ministry spokesperson said the call also touched on assessments and consultations regarding the importance of enforcing humanitarian truce and protecting civilians in Gaza. The two sides stressed on the necessity of full, safe and sustainable entry for humanitarian aid and the rejection of forced displacement of Palestinians.